DNA evidence often isn't as watertight as many people think. Sensitive techniques developed over the past 20 years mean that police can now detect minute traces of DNA at a crime scene or on a piece of evidence. But traces from a perpetrator are often mixed with those from many other people that have been transferred to the sample site, for example via a handshake. And this problem has led to people being wrongly convicted. Scientists have developed algorithms to separate this DNA soup and to measure the relative amounts of each person's DNA in a sample. These probabilistic genotyping methods have enabled forensic investigators to indicate how likely it is that an individual's DNA was included in a mixed sample found at the crime scene. Asterisk chirp chirp asterisk who's there? It has early bird tickets to send come in, and now, more sophisticated artificial intelligence (AI) techniques are being developed in an attempt to extract DNA profiles and try to work out whether a DNA sample came directly from someone who was at the crime scene, or whether it had just been innocently transferred. But if this technology is successful, it could introduce a new problem, because it is currently impossible to understand exactly how this AI reaches its conclusions. And how can we trust technology to provide vital evidence if we can't interrogate how it produced that evidence in the first place? It has the potential to open the way to even more miscarriages of justice, and so this lack of transparency may be a barrier to the technology's use in forensic investigations. Similar challenges emerged when DNA analysis software was first developed a decade ago. Evidence derived from DNA mixture software very quickly ran into challenges from defense teams, including that of O.J. Simpson, who were concerned that the prosecution should demonstrate that the software was correctly validated. How accurate were the results, and what was the known error rate? How exactly did the software work, and could it accommodate defense hypotheses? Were the results really so dependable that a jury could safely convict? It is a fundamental tenet of the law that evidence must be open to scrutiny. The jury cannot rely on bold assertions, claims made without evidence, no matter who makes them and what expertise they have. But the owners of the software argued it was their protected intellectual property, and how it worked shouldn't be made public. A battle ensued that involved the use of novel court procedures to allow defense teams to privately examine how the software worked. Finally, the courts were persuaded that full access to the source code was needed, not least to test hypotheses other than those put forward by the prosecution. AI can predict whether someone was actually at the site of a DNA sample. Dorodenkov/Shutterstock, but the software hasn't completely solved the issues of DNA mixtures and small, degraded samples. We still don't know definitively if the DNA in a sample came directly from a person or was transferred there. This is complicated by the fact that different people shed DNA at different rates, a phenomenon known as their shedder status. For example, a sample taken from a murder weapon could contain more DNA from someone who hasn't touched it than from the person who actually committed the murder. People have been charged with serious offenses because of this. At the fact that DNA is T. You can read full post on Cryptophans News, link available in text below.